Hello from Jihad and the World, a product of Kensington Security Consulting, where we bring education to national security. This episode is part of a series of podcasts that examine Islamic and non-Islamic in Europe. This episode offers analytic snapshots of the press and police in Europe. Future podcasts will expand on the general themes presented in the podcast, which is called The Press and Police, Loverboys, and Easy Meat. The author is Mark Silinsky. The Press. Over the past 50 years, European journalists have developed a new language, avoiding words that could be culturally offensive. Some see themselves as protectors of progressive values. Across the continent, an unspoken rule governs which topics to discuss and which words to use, lest they threaten social unity. In Germany, ethnic Germans are called those who have lived here longer. Increasingly, the ethnicity and religion of criminals or suspects are ignored or concealed. Journalists dismiss the motives of violent offenders as irrelevant. In Sweden, 4 men described by police as looking like foreign tourists drugged and gang-raped young women. Establishment politicians in most European countries deny the existence of no-go zones. In Arnhem, Holland, near the Nelson Mandela Bridge, a gang of boys and men called 2 gay men filthy faggots in Dutch/Moroccan slang, and then beat them. The arrested perpetrators were simply referred to as youths in the mainstream media. Brutal, often gruesome slashings or vehicle attacks are labelled as actions of lunatics, with little or no mention of political or religious motives. Those opposed to Islam are often labelled racists. Editors have altered or revised the meanings of many words to avoid offending social and religious groups. Islam is often described as a race rather than a religion. Some of this concealment is self-censorship, while other cases stem from fear of retaliation, such as the cartoon killings in France and Denmark. The German Press Council, which oversees journalistic standards, stated that information about a person's ethnicity shouldn't be published unless there is a justified public interest in doing so. European Union Justice Commissioner Vera Jourova demanded that social media giants Facebook and Twitter censor rhetoric or conversations that might threaten social cohesion. There are dissenting journalists who use the internet and non-mainstream media outlets. However, European countries lack anything comparable to the American First Amendment, which protects free speech. European journalists cannot avoid prosecution by citing the truth as a defense. They have learned to keep quiet. Public officials. I am so damn tired. Swedish police officer Peter Springare publicly expressed his fatigue and shame over downplaying the level of immigrant crime. Public servants include police officials, social workers, school teachers, judges, and other government workers. Police forces are strained, particularly in the no-go zones. Driven by fear of crime, some of Europe's senior citizens live in a self-imposed state of house arrest and have little faith in the police. In a suburb of Stockholm, residents rallied behind local Hells Angels, begging them to stay in their neighbourhood. In the absence of effective policing, parents saw the biker toughs as new Praetorians, guarding their daughters against migrant molestation. One resident explained, "We have for 10 years never known any discomfort or fear because the current tenants are Hells Angels, rather the contrary." European police and security officials are handicapped. A veteran Swedish policeman explained that he is not permitted to ask suspects about their religion, but their names are Ali Mohammed, Mahmoud, Mohammed, Mohammed Ali Mohammed, again. Another police officer shrugs. The criminals are laughing at society. In another Stockholm suburb, Rinkeby, police are building a new station to fortress specifications. It will have bulletproof windows and steel-reinforced walls. But officers will likely not take public transportation to work for fear of being attacked. They will be driven to work in teams and under guard. By 2017, the postal service was suspended in Rinkeby. Swedish postal officials declared it too unsafe for workers. Some call all this the new Stockholm Syndrome, a cocktail of broad-based fear and fatalism leading to resignation and paralysis. In May 2016, Greater Manchester Police tested its anti-terrorist measures by conducting a large-scale exercise in the city to assess the effectiveness of the emergency response. More than 800 volunteers participated and the mock terrorist yelled, "Allahu Akbar." Immediately, Islamic and leftist leaders demanded and received an apology for stereotyping terrorism. The Community Safety Organization, which seeks to combat Islamophobia, tweeted, "This sort of thing panders to stereotypes and further divides us. It will increase anti-Muslim hate crimes." The police chief responded, "We acknowledge that it was unacceptable to use this religious phrase immediately before the mock suicide bombing which so vocally linked this exercise with Islam. We recognize and apologize for the offense this has caused." Classrooms and school grounds have also become lawless. In Lund, Sweden, a migrant boy was found guilty of rape but was not expelled from the school. Instead, he served 100 hours of community service. In Britain, there are nationwide Pakistani paedophile grooming gangs whose lover boys target attention-starved working-class schoolgirls. In street slang, the girls are sometimes called easy meat. In schools, the curriculum is sometimes poisonous. Saudi-funded schools in Britain sometimes refer to Jews as apes and to Christians as pigs. Schools throughout Europe have dropped course content including the Holocaust and the Crusades. Students and their parents demand special dietary accommodations and prayer rooms. They sometimes require segregated classes and, at times, their own schools. Often, public servants appease them. This concludes this episode of Jihad and the World. It offered a brief glimpse into the press and public officials in Europe several years ago. Future podcasts will expand on these themes and offer profiles of men and women who are part of the drama of Islam and Europe. Nothing in this podcast represents the official position of the United States government. We are excited about our latest book, Cauldron of Terror, Hamas, Israel and the World, which will be available for purchase in summer 2026. Until our next podcast, on behalf of Kensington Security Consulting, thank you for listening.